said, we didn't know what Battlestar was going to become, but myself in particular, I think I was very naive with regard to the potential of the show. And from day one, Edward James Olmos said, this show is going to change all of your lives. This show is going to change the face of sci-fi. This is the most important show for you to be a part of. And I was like, keep telling yourself that, like, that's cool, whatever. I had no idea. And him being that way, though, he was so consistent and so wholeheartedly believed that what we are doing was so important. And I think he does everything in his life that way. I don't think that Eddie, sorry, I call him Eddie, I know it seems weird for people, but a lot of us do. Edward James Olmos, I don't think he does anything in his life that he doesn't put his whole self into, and that moved me a lot. And I definitely noticed and thought about what it meant to be that way, and it changed the way I was and related with the show itself, and even just thinking about my work and what work I wanted to do and how I wanted to do it. Because I would see Edward James almost like, say, in a social way, and he'd be there practicing his lines while he was waiting for someone. He's so diligent and persistent, and even at his level of success, put so much time and effort into making it the best he possibly can. So I think he and Mary also, unfortunately I didn't have as much experience with her just because our characters didn't cross paths quite as much. But both of them set such a high standard that I think influenced all of us directly or indirectly.
What did you think about the revelation when it ultimately came down that Aiden wasn't the father of Kelly's kid?
Was that the question you were going to ask? No. Yeah, that was a bummer. I really wasn't excited about that. One, because it meant that my kid wasn't as important anymore, really, in the grand scheme of things, because he's just a bastard child. You know, living on the ship. Who cares about him now because he's not Absilon? And I also couldn't make it make sense. It was after I filmed the scene of my death that I heard about it, so I didn't know what was leading up to it, to know where it fit in. I just heard that all of a sudden Hot Dog was the dad, and I thought they were playing a joke on me. I seriously thought the producers and everyone were playing a prank because it just seemed too preposterous that would truly be, you know, the best thing for the story. I didn't get it. And I'm not sure I do still. But I don't know. They do amazing things, so I have to trust that they see the bigger picture and maybe I'm missing something. I think it made some things easier for the show in general, for there not to be two Cylon hybrid babies, so kind of makes sense, but I wasn't super into it. Yes.
Is this working? Hi, I wanted to know what you thought about the whole, how women are portrayed in the series, because on the one hand, I think it's like they're reacting to two separate crowds, because like a lot of sci-fi fans are like, seeing strong women roles as well, and I'm not going to stereotype. I loved your character was after having 7 of 9 in the call for having years, wow, someone's actually intelligent and has a real job, just like me. And then I run to people who are newbies to sci-fi going, wow, why is Callie being scared when Starbuck's the strong character, and like, how do you juggle being, well, realistic versus flawed? Because I thought the whole point of the show was everyone's flawed and cracks under pressure and stuff. And if you complain about that, you weren't watching the show.
Good answer. No, I think you're absolutely correct. As far as your question about how women are portrayed, I think in what you were expressing the characters of the show. I don't think it's just women. I think all of the characters on the show have a very complex range and opportunity to explore different parts of themselves. And I think the writers do an incredible job, and that's why parts like Callie were able to grow, because they had a backstory, they had a humanity to them. It wasn't like no character just served the plot. Like there on a lot of shows, there are the 5 main characters, and then everyone else is in the periphery, just moving things along so that the main characters can do their thing. But as far as the women, I think a lot of interesting issues were explored, and kind of the dynamic that plays out in a time of war, which is, in my belief, a very male thing. I don't think it's in our nature as a woman to fight. It's just not. So to be put in that circumstance and see what comes out of people, or how they relate, or what they have to do to themselves to make it okay, I think raises some really interesting questions. I think I would have liked to see more interaction between the women on the show. Like, none of us had any friends. I don't know if you noticed that, but there wasn't a lot of, like, I think it's very natural for women to get together and talk about what's going on. You know, men get together and do stuff, and they're like working on things, and it feels good to get stuff done. But in real life, I don't know, this might just be me or my experience, but it seems like we get together and we like talk about how things are for us and how we feel. And I think that would have been a cool dynamic to explore on the show. Maybe it doesn't fit with, fighting Cylons in space. Maybe that's not what people want to watch, but I thought it would have been interesting. We're making you run. That's fascinating.
I have 2 questions. How relieved were you that Battlestar they didn't like turn into a Star Trek star? Of course, laugh off the bugs in space and that's the stuff like that. And the second
Sorry, what's your question about that?
How relieved are you that when Battlestar got involved, it didn't turn into like bugs in space or like other monsters or whatever? And the second question is that if you had a chance, what other genre would you like? You want to do like a Jane Austen or like a romantic comedy?
Yeah, sure. I think I said this earlier. I mean, I'm not really drawn to any genre specifically because of the genre. It's more about what it expresses, and if it's a good character and something that I'm moved by, or upholds the values that I want to see upheld. And I think that can be done in nearly any genre. So, I like comedy. So I have kind of personal preferences and things like that, but I also appreciate pretty much every genre. And I think Battlestar did an amazing job of keeping the consistency of our reality without having to go too far outside where you just kind of get like, it's not, I don't get this. And I don't know how many times people who haven't watched the show, if I tell them I'm on a sci-fi show, they're like, oh, like, are you an alien? And what about the aliens? And I'm like, there's no aliens on our show. I do think that's an important part of Battlestar Galactica, that it is something that could happen. Like, it could be happening right now. Because we don't even know time is linear.